Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to L3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful, swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. The nice, beautiful, cool night in Fort Lauderdale. They're having a little Christmas light show. It's going to be there for like 12 nights in Fort Lauderdale. So, Las Olas to be exact. So you should check it out. Yeah, I'm just kicking back in now and just browsing through some shows. Heard some good things, bad things. To have that balance. No anxiety or fear. And I'll be talking about that a little bit later. So I'm going to be narrating a few articles. First two here will be from Law and it's called Law and Order. Law and Crime. Yeah, a couple of things happen. You can say it mainly is like hate crime related or threats and so forth. But these are interesting here. Lawandcrime.com, which is part of the Dan Abrams production. So everything's under fair use, so don't panic. And it says here, one article came out today, and it says, Asian man previously accused of scrawling racist graffiti pleads guilty to poisoning black roommate. This is by Alberto Luperon. A former college student in Northampton County, Pennsylvania, pleaded guilty on Tuesday to poison his roommate, Yukai Yang, 24, copped to count of an attempted murder in the near death of Wuan Royal, according to prosecutor Richard Pepper in a Lee Valley Live report. This marks the end of a case dating back to 2018. Authorities said that the defendant planted the deadly heavy metal thallium in his roommate's food, water, and mouthwash for months. He certainly knew how to do it as a chemistry student at Lee University. Or Lehigh or Lee, whatever how to pronounce it over there. As part of the guilty plea, prosecutors dropped a case in which he was charged with vandalizing his dorm room with the phrase Negro, in other words, low life, get out of here. Royal is black, Yang is Asian, and a Chinese national. As you look up some of the reports that's going on in China, how they China's government, how they treat the African community over there. Talk about racists and all these knuckleheads with their support these synthetic movements, talking about white privilege. Yeah, go over there and see how racism really is social justice. You get taken out. As I continue on, here. Prosecutors back in 2018 said that he tried to dodge charges by turning himself over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement for deportation. It's going to be a while before Yang gets the chance to return to his birth country. The long and short of it is that he faces between 6 and 40 years in prison. Pepper said that there is no sentencing deal. Royal reportedly believed he had a cordial relationship with the defendant. Now he is said to be dealing with ongoing recovery effort. He continues to experience neurological issues with his toes, Pepper said. Yang's attorney, Janet Jackson, did not immediately return a long crime request for comment. She's previously said he had what was possible schizoid disorder, according to WFMZ. The defendant also said he had depression. There's a mugshot of him on here. And very disturbing indeed, of course, and it's not really impressive, I would say. They may be schizoid, so that's some excuse he may have. Or he's been, probably Mr. Yang was conditioned in the communist China on his, how they treat black people in that particular jurisdiction. So, it is disturbing indeed. And I wish I do wish Mr. Royal a full recovery, because this gentleman, no one deserves this. No one. Called contempt to the core. And possibly mind controlled as well. Not defending the man by any means. His actions are unacceptable. You gotta condemn it with a passion. So if he serves a lot of time, then he earns it. Plain and simple. And this one here, from the same article, white supremacist pleads not guilty to post-election death threats against Schumer and Democrats. This is written by Adam Classfield, came out today as well. Soon to be former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn his defeat at the poll with misinformation, litigation, bullying, enticement, and he has been linked to death threats against secretaries from the state of Georgia and Arizona. And on Tuesday, a noose was brandished at a young contractor at Dominion Voting Systems. Well, that's something like possible soon to be. Well, we gotta wait till the Electoral College on January 6th. Okay, Mr. Classfield? Just to let you know, I'm not even a Trump lover, all right? And so I'm going to continue on here. Amid this dropback, a white supremacist who falsely believed in a sinister plot to install President-elect Joe Biden in Trump's place pleaded not guilty at his arraignment on Wednesday after calling attention to the wave of threatening violence on the altar of a conspiracy theory. During the brief and remote proceeding, registered sex offender Brian Majorana, 54, waived his right to be physically present due to the coronavirus, as well as a public reading of his indictment, charging him with being felon of possession of a firearm and ammunition and transmitting threats to injure. We went over it fully the other day. The Majorana? Yeah, Majorana told U.S. Magistrate Judge Vera Sagnian of his discussion with his attorney, James Darrow, from the Federal Defenders of New York. The Majorana indictment makes for chilling reading. The day after Biden clinched the title President-elect, the Staten Island man allegedly posted soapbox ballot box, and that was fraudulently stolen from us, now cartridge box. Huh. He probably got that cue from, how's the white supremacy? He probably got that cue from Frederick Douglass about the ballot box, the jury box, and the cartridge box. I don't know what's so threatened about that. The mark was quoted in Majorana's charge sheet and indictment. An anti-Semitic bile directed at the Democrats' son, Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer, Democrat from New York, Majorana's seat as a Jew senator from New York, said nothing is off the table according to court papers. Wow. Hey, why call it? Well, you're being too nice with Majorana, according to his own report. You're being too nice. Call him a Gino senator from Gino, York, okay? Or Gino from representing New York, or misrepresenting. Remember, Gino means Jew in name only. All right? You got to mock these people, okay? You can't use the same rhetoric, but it's just a claim, all right? The tactic reference to Schumer was made clear by the following remark: nothing is off the table, an allusion to Schumer's reaction to the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court back in September. Majorana's white supremacist ideas came evident from his read material quoted by authorities. The Turner Diaries must come to life, Majorana allegedly wrote. Oh, good grief. He's reading a book from the late Dr. William Pierce, who was the founder of the National Alliance. Interesting book, by the way. It may have some racial slurs in it, but if you look at the bigger picture, it's very interesting. But when it comes to government tyranny, I'll just leave it at that. I don't have to agree with Mr. Pierce on a lot of things either, so I'll be very frank. I'm not a National Alliance sympathizer, but I'll always look at the pros and cons of all these movements. But I'll say this: at least I respect him more than what's that knucklehead's name? what's that knucklehead's name? Richard Spencer. He's just a poser anyway, a glam boy. So, but like I said, I don't agree with Mr. Pierce and everything. So I'll just look at his pros and cons like everybody else. I'll continue on here. All right. Marin allegedly wrote referring to a book that inspired Oklahoma City terrorist Timothy McVeigh. We blew up the FBI building for real. And the alphabet agency's assassination will become the new normal now. That electoral process is finished. 2 days after the election, Mariona also allegedly wrote that all Democrats and their families need to be exterminated. The carnage needs to come in the form of extermination of anyone that claims to be Democrat as well as their families. You can read the indictment below. And it's funny because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made some little tweet statements about putting people on a list. Well, that's exceptional, right? A little doublespeak there, supposedly. So, let's see if it does. Yeah, you can actually read it here, on the counts and so forth. So, on the indictments. So, I'll just keep on going here, and I'll see how far this baby goes. Yeah, that's it on that. So, 6 pages long. Yeah, you can look it up yourselves, folks. Remember, he's innocent until proven guilty. But they call him a white supremacist. I was wondering if he's involved in any organizations, all right? But they use that term for anybody now that goes after people claiming to be this particular group. But in reality is, we all know, too, Charles Schumer is a treasonous parasite, a freedom-hating sap. And I don't hate Jews, okay? People that know me for a long time on this show understand that. That's why I go on an ethical basis. I get them all equally. But the man is guilty. He's innocent to proven guilty by the court of law. And this is only allegations. But all these things are going insane. But if the state does it, it's exceptional, right? If government does it, it's okay. Qualified immunity for everybody. So, we gotta find out how deep this case goes. He did plead not guilty. So if he makes certain statements, don't be surprised if he used some of the free speech. Even when someone threatened Thomas Jefferson, on one of these certain bills he signed, which is in reference to embargoes, he got really someone got real critical of him. So, but the whole thing is about with Charles Schumer. He's a poser, okay? He just wants to know what all lawyers believes he's the most honorable man in history. Look, he makes people like Benedict Arnold a profound patriot. All right? That's why I look at Charles Schumer. I've been saying it for over 2 decades. If they ever do a political satire version of Pinocchio, he'll be perfect. Based on because he loves to lie. Plain and simple. Doesn't matter if he's whiter than me with the same surname. All right? Well, enough of all the little drama and what's going on. Even claims about, the claim, a report that from the Epoch Times, I was reading that, was saying that he, what's his name, Joe Biden had a boot, claiming he had a couple of fractures, and the press were being obstructed by his guards. So they say he's feeling fine. Well, hopefully he heals up. I'm not here to wish the man any ill, but there's a lot of questions about about the election. So he's not the president-elect because the media said so. Come on. But, however, despite lockdowns, isolation, poverty, and loss, the human spirit will always prevail. Here's what David Luther had to say. A year ago, nobody really imagined we spend most of 2020 in our homes watching as one family after another lost a loved one, as one business after another closed, as one dream after another died. We didn't think about spending a year isolated from the people we love, are navigating a new world with restrictions handed down by the federal, state, and local governments. It never occurred to us that it would soon become a rarity to see a stranger's smile, or that traveling world would become about almost impossible. This time last year, we were thinking about our plans for the holiday season. We were booking flights, working overtime in busy stores, and planning to what to wear to the office Christmas party. We were looking forward to 2020. After all, it was a brand new decade that sounded so futuristic. We savored what the year ahead might bring. Would it be travel, a new job, true love? This is going to be my year, people said. 2020 has not been our year. And then the calendar turned, and shortly thereafter, everything changed, and 2020 was not the bright light we'd all imagined. In fact, it was dark, depressing, devastating, deadly. With the 2020 came, that pandemic preppers had all been getting ready for ever since they began looking at the bad things that could happen. It was a year that justified our stockpiles, our stash of N95s, our entire outlook, but at the same time, even those who were prepared seemed to hesitate, find it difficult to believe that the virus named COVID-19 was actually as bad as the media and the World Health Organization claimed that it was. But whether you believed in the danger of the virus or not, your life was probably affected by it. And for some of us, it was affected more than others. The official death toll in the United States as I write this essay is around 269,000 people. But that number doesn't include the people who died of cancer or a heart condition or some other life-threatening disease for which they could not obtain treatment because of the virus. At least 20% of Americans reported being unable to obtain vital health care this year due to the pandemic. It doesn't reflect the people who succumbed to despair and mental illness exacerbated by the extreme isolation and the fear propagated by the media. The CDC reports that the virus and lockdowns have contributed to more suicides, overdoses, and violence I wrote previously about. The restrictions have been detrimental to mental health. The uncertainty in general has been brutal for many. There are bitter financial woes. 8 million more Americans than last year are now living in poverty as a result of the lockdowns and subsequent job and business losses. 2020 wasn't anybody's year, well, except for those running major corporations like Amazon. Here are we almost a year later. This year, the shops were all but empty on Black Friday, normally the busiest day of the year for retailers. Americans in general plan to spend less than normal on Christmas this year, another blow to a struggling economy. While 50 million people still travel to see loved ones on Thanksgiving despite suggestions from public health officials, many people face the holiday alone or only with immediate family should predictions come true regarding those who travel for Thanksgiving. Christmas could even be even lonelier. Not only have the pandemic and subsequent restrictions made people physically, economically, and mentally unwell, they have isolated us. A lot of people are feeling pretty overwhelmed right now as they struggle to work from home, help their children navigate distance learning, and try to feed the family on less money while prices go up. Supply shortages are beginning to be too obvious to hide in most parts of the country, so finding the things you want this holiday season may be difficult even if you have the money to make purchases. I had YouTube on in the background the other day while I was cleaning my kitchen, and it auto-played a 2017 interview with a couple of celebrities. They were talking about things like going to the movies and drinking that giant soda and trying to time your trip to the bathroom where you didn't miss anything important in the film. They discussed going to McDonald's with the kids just so they could get an hour apiece while the children enthusiastically romped with strangers, children, in the play area. It was positively surreal. All of these small activities we've taken for granted for so long are just not possible anymore. Playland isn't open. You can only get food in the drive-thru and forget about going to the movie theater like ever it's expected that be the end of the year. Up to 70% of small to medium-sized movie theaters will be bankrupt. There are days when everything seems grim and hopeless. But there is a light, and that light is the human spirit. Despite the dark period in many of our lives, there is still joy to be found. The human spirit has always and will always prevail when it comes to finding ways to connect with other people and seek happiness. While everything is very different, the thing that makes us human cannot be contained indefinitely. It's not the same as before. But I see beautiful stories that give me hope, like the couple in Italy who most on their balconies during the lockdown. They said it was love at first sight. They got to know each other online and flirted across the distance. Now they're engaged. The creative ways old folks' homes have come up with so loved ones can visit. While it's definitely not as satisfying holding, care homes in the UK are establishing protocols for outdoor visits, windows visits, and visiting pods to maintain lockdown while still allowing residents some interaction with the people they love. The return of the first porch as a social hotspot. Back when I was a girl, I visited several of my elderly neighbors on the front porches on a regular basis. Neighbors and porches in general have fallen out of style over the past decade, but there is now a resurgence of friendly, socially distanced chats. Video calling. While it's not the same as actually being there, we're so fortunate to live in a time that offers us the technology to connect with the people we love no matter where they are in the world via the internet. Use the Zoom and other types of video calling software has hit an alley time high, while people use it to work, to socialize, and even to date. Getting to know our neighbors. There are so many ways people are getting to know those who live close by in these days, where spending more time at home. Not only there is a front porch visit mentioned above, but people are picking up supplies for neighbors who can't get to the store. They're dropping off artwork their children made, and they're having conversations through the door to help others to know they're not so alone. Getting married, regardless of lockdowns. Initially, a lot of couples were postponing weddings so they could be sure to have their loved ones present. Now the trend is more toward getting married anyway to unite with the person you love. Some people having small, intimate ceremonies with just a handful of people present. Others are having guest show via video, and still others are getting hitched without any audience at all. Supporting each other online. Here's another shout out to technology. The ease of messenger apps on our phones and computers make it so much more possible for us to stay connected with friends and loved ones, whether they live right next door or on the other side of the planet. It helps to be able to check in with our friends and have a conversation, whether it's via text, a voice call, or a video. Now has our ability to have online friends has been important as right now. So it's always going to have pen pals. Trust me on that. We humans will always find a way to connect with other humans, no matter how many holidays get canceled, how stringently the lockdowns are enforced, or how dystopian the world may seem. We're not born to live in isolation, and so we will use the technology available us to unite with others. We will connect with others regardless of the rules. With or without permission, we will find a way. People, you hear Christmas music in the background at the Stranahan hotel, I think it was. Yeah, right across the river. So enjoy it, my friends. You know what I'm saying? Whether you believe it or not, it's called have some fun and spread the love, right? So people out there creating, writing stories, baking bread, and having babies. We're tapping into our love of health, and home, and we are becoming even more closely bound to the people we love. We are focusing on things we can control. Although we can't go to church in many parts of the country, people still find comfort in their faith. Although we can't always gather, we still find strength in one another. Think of the most dystopian, totalitarian place you can imagine, where execution is go to punishment for the smallest of crimes. Even some place that is subject to brutal regimes is still the setting of exciting romances that make people's hearts race. Parents who love their children fiercely, and best friends who laugh at some inappropriate jokes. Same inappropriate jokes, excuse me. Human spirit will always prevail. It has always prevailed. And the virus or no virus, lockdown or no lockdown, we are watching it prevail right now in a million little vignettes around the world. As things change, remember that many things are forever the same. Just as the human spirit will prevail to connect us with one another, nature is always going to be nature. Although everything seems so very different this year, many things are eternally the same. The tides will still go on, in and out, and the moon will still wax and wane. The rain will fall, the stars will shine, the clouds will take form, and make us think of animals or angels or teapots. The birds will still sing in the morning and after a rainstorm. Dogs will bark, cars will purr, and grass will grow. In her diary, Anne Frank, I don't think of all the misery, but the beauty that still remains. Somehow this girl is hiding in the attic, fearing for her life, held on to her sense of joy and optimism in the worst of circumstances. If there's one important lesson to be learned from it's that where you focus your attention is where your mind spends its time. And some people, there's some claim about Anne Frank is fiction, but it doesn't matter. It's still a great message, okay? I'll leave it at that. So I'm not here to judge. No matter how much the world changes, there are always those things that will remain the same. Let these things be your touchstones. When you feel lonely or without hope, turn off the news that is constantly telling you about the darkness and look toward the light that remains. Focus on the beauty there is in the world, the people you love, and the things for which you are grateful. We are boundless, and our capacity for love, gratitude, and compassion. Things will not always be as dismal as they seem right now to many. Human nature will not allow a world bereft of joy forever. It is within all of us. We just have to find the spark of gratitude, love, and hope. And we have to remember that the human spirit, although it can be weakened, it can be battered, will always find a way to prevail. And I have to agree. What we're seeing right now, folks, it all wants to submit, live in fear, and be miserable. Yes, it's always been a dangerous world. And we all know about these cool attempts happening in the United States and throughout the world. Make us on to this New World Order government. It's not going to work. It's designed to fail. And that's ensured by Mother Nature, the Lord, wherever your belief system is. It doesn't matter. The human spirit is a lot more powerful than what the status wants you to know. To defy all forms of tyranny, my friends. And always be neighborly. Show love one another. It drives the system crazy. Even when I do my activism, I always do it out of love. No vindication. I go by my principles. They hate that more. I lay down facts based on their actions. Not wishing them any ill. They hate that more. I know for a fact. So always be good to one another, my friends. There's people out here, I know they're homeless. They're not all bad folks. We have a good discussion, then we'll give each other a hand. Even the people in the Himmershey district, they have their business. They're my neighbors too. I always see how they're doing. Hopefully everything's going well. Because we live once, we value it. We all have a purpose as well. So, one thing I tell everyone: be good to each other, and it's never too late. If you made some mistakes in the past, if you want to heal up, reconcile, do it. It's good. You'll feel better in the long run. We're not all bad people. We got great gifts, and we got our flaws, including myself. And happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, and all that. Well, you know what? That will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you said something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. And furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes of these articles on my Spreaker page. If you want to contact me, you can hit me at LokiLuck3@gmail.com, or actually I prefer the Proton Mail account, LokiLuck03@protonmail.com. And hey, support Daisy Luther, even Long Crime. Send them some love. If you want to send me some contributions, that'd be cool. You can hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuck3. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.